All right, here we go. Kicking off today with Candice Brathwaite. You will, if you follow Candice online, you will see what an amazing leap or transformation. I don't even know. Transformation just sounds a bit trite, really. Her career has just elevated in such an amazing way, not only from, I guess, the traditional things of status and money, but impact, but conversation. And she's a trailblazer. We did Stylist Live together in 2018, and I've written for Make Motherhood Diverse, and she's going to be somebody that we are talking about for a very long time. Yeah. So much love for that woman. Next, we move on to Salma Shah, who is a personal branding psychologist. And we're talking in this episode about how people buy, how people represent themselves, how people define success or don't. And it's always a really great one. It's a conversation to come back to again and again, because I know myself that my version of success, and probably yours too, is constantly changing. It's constantly up for reevaluation. And certainly, I was saying this to Matt the other day, as a mum, our kids are now nearly 7 and about to be 3. And we're learning again. I feel like we're going into another chapter. Nothing like things to keep you on your toes, hey? Next, Hannah Feldman, who is a co-founder of Cadaddle. Hannah is just, she's just so inspirational and just is such a key player in this conversation of a female founder, of investment, of stretching, of dreaming big, of having a goal, of having a mission, building a team. I can't tell you, there is so much in this episode. So do listen out for the whole episode too. Just to reiterate here, they are all on my website, nikkiraby.com/interview-series. And this bundle particularly is 41 to 44. Finally, 44 is with Penny Wincer, who is a professional interiors and lifestyle photographer, but she's also moved into writing books about caring and about neurodiversity. And I'm always interested in what she has to say. Her opinions, her thoughts, her reflections are always so insightful, and I know, again, you're going to learn so much from this. Enjoy this bundle. As always, you can come over to nikkiraby.com/shop for more information. Matty's home. I'll speak to you very soon. Bye.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the thing. Tea Time used to exist in long form on YouTube for 2 years. And it was more about gossip news. And I would run home from work at my publishing job right before getting Esme from my mum or nursery, set up my camera, film for 20 minutes, then go and get her. So Tea Time was in existence long before I ever brought it to Instagram stories. I grew tired of it. I grew tired of reporting news that you could find in the National Enquirer. And I was like, oh, I'm putting this to bed. I don't like it anymore. I was in Barbados. Really nicely, Papa B had sent me to Barbados by myself for a holiday. And whilst I was in Barbados, Grenfell happened. So I'm watching Grenfell from Barbados.
Which is like a year ago, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah, almost exactly a year ago. And I was on my aunt's veranda and I picked up my phone, and that was the beginning of Tea Time for Insta Stories. It was this rolling succession of stories of me just talking about how Grenfell happened because those people are poor and disenfranchised. And it had such a rousing effect that when I got off the flight at Heathrow, I said to Papa B, I was like, tea time's coming back, but it's coming back from more of a place of emotion and wanting to support women and perhaps make a change.
Yes.
So again, it was something really horrific and negative that was the spark to like just shift the perception and shift how I was going to do it. And I made sure, I think for the first 4 or 5 months, tea time went out every single day at 1 o'clock on Insta stories, every single day. And I had no plans for like growing it. I was like, I just enjoy doing this. And one day I got a message in my DMs, and I tried to read every single DM. And it was this lady, and she was like, oh my God, your tea time about Sex in the City, it was amazing. And I always try to check a person's profile so that I can respond with their name.
Yes.
And
if
when
you don't have your name in your profile, please put it in, because I'm the same. I'm like, but what's your name? Please tell me.
I touched her profile and her name popped up, Giovanna Fletcher. I'll be honest with you, I'd never heard of her. Again, I'm a black woman from Brixton in this very closed off world. Of course I knew who McFly were, but I didn't know who Giovanna was. And I looked at her following and I thought, Jesus Christ, this person has almost 1 million followers and they watch tea time every day. I was literally climbing the walls like, what on earth is going on? And I put my phone down and I walked away and I paced up and down, and I couldn't pace very far because our flat was so small back then. I was literally pacing the ceiling. And I was like, Candice, do you ask her to share tea time with her followers? And I was like, no, don't do that. Because, I just did that thing where as women, we're like, don't do that. It's bad for business. Don't ask. She'll say no. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. And then I finally was like, you know what? No, ask. What have you got to lose? And in my message, as per usual with women, it was very apologetic. So sorry to bother you. If you enjoyed it that much, would you tell your following? I even said to her, I understand that you're normally paid to promote things. And if that's the case, please tell me to pee off and I'll go and see your management. I was really honest that I was like, it would be so awesome if more people could see this. I sent that message and I turned my phone off. I was so scared, I just turned the phone off. I was like, oh, she's going to be really upset with that. And I can't deal with that right now.
Yeah.
Got Esme from nursery, came home, switched my phone on, and my following had gone up by 5,000.
Whoa.
And I was like, what the heck? And literally, now my phone was back on, my notifications were coming in so fast, my phone wasn't even dinging. I just kept seeing the notifications.
It was just shaking and going, oh my God.
Like, what? And lo and behold, I checked, because she tagged me, she'd done like a whole successional story saying how great she thinks tea time is and how everyone should check it out. And again, funny enough again, through something that made me really scared, Giovanna and I are now really good friends. And she's the first person I call when I don't understand the contract or I'm not sure about the next step I should be taking. She's like my go-to girl. And I can't imagine not having her in my life in that capacity now. So it just goes to show, like, always ask.
And when you know what your success looks like, or to me actually, what it feels like, because I think feelings are really, really important.
Yes.
Especially feelings coming from a good place, you can start voicing your messages in a much more positive way, which is why when I came across your work, I just thought I have to get to know this lady because I just loved what you're saying.
Oh, thank you so much, because I think it has taken a long time to get to this place, and I think sometimes this idea of just leave the 9 to 5 and then go out and find yourself and you'll have this dream business in 72 hours if you just follow these 6 steps. I really struggle with that, because actually it does take a long time, well, much longer, and more money and more time and training and effort to really evolve into who you're supposed to be. And certainly my business has had lots of different phases to it.
Absolutely, same here. And I call me a cynic, but I'm so switched off from that.
Yeah, me too.
You and I both know. I just kind of so switched off from that. 6-figure over 24 hours and drinking champagne in Paris with your LV handbag. Again, I love my handbag, but it's just, there's so much noise out there, and I feel very frustrated because often they do suck in a certain vulnerable type of person.
Yeah, because all of that is lovely. Of course, you know, I do those sort of material aspects, and you know, I really want to build our dream house one day, and all of that sort of stuff. Like, I do have big dreams, but also I need not to be stressed, and I don't do my best work in the world when I'm, you know, worried about money or overstretching myself in any capacity, really.
And absolutely, because you want to feel good about what you're doing, and
Yeah.
feel at peace with yourself, or feel energized, or whatever it is that makes you feel at your best. So, absolutely right. And I think those 6-figure promises overnight, actually, the only person that's making 6 figures overnight is the person that's selling that course.
Yeah. Yeah, quite exactly. That it's like, well, I haven't actually done it until like you all signed up.
Because women are coming up with so many wonderful ideas because they're there on the ground living life and getting out and about and going, gosh, I really need a solution to this.
Yeah. And we are also huge, you know, in terms of consumers, we are ultimately one of, you know, the strongest consumer force. So not only do we want to solve our problems, but we're the ones often spending to solve the problems. Yeah. So it's a win-win with women.
Absolutely. How have
I actually think, though, by the way, on the women point, we went out initially, we were going to raise 250,000, and it was actually one of our female investors who had an illustrious career as a CFO of various big oil companies, and she said, women always ask for too little and men always ask for too much. And obviously that is a huge generalization. But she said, you are mad not to go out and raise 500. And Sophie and I both looked at each other thinking, really? And she said, you have no idea how much you do not want to be starting this process again before you're ready. You want to give yourself as long as possible to go and use that money for as much as it can work on evaluations. You don't want to give away too much of the company, but you want to go for as long as possible. And my God, that was the best advice we'd ever received. Ever.
That's so key. I found that, like, running my group coaching course, actually what I do now is I market it and then I close it. And that has been really key because it helps me to keep focused on one thing at a time. When I'm sort of available to all things and kind of always in that sort of outward situation, it's really hard to keep your eye on the ball, really, because you're juggling too many things. What elements of yourself have you learned throughout this process as you've started to wear all these different hats?
I've learned that my love of people and my love of being with people is a double-edged sword, because I absolutely get energy from people and it elevates me to a whole other level. I can go and go and go when I'm with others. Love it. And actually, you can't build a business from the start by spending all your time with people. Yes. Otherwise, they'll never have anything from you. And it's learning to kind of say, I know I love people and I'm going to be with people, and this business is about me being with people, but to build the product and to actually have the rigor to give something to people, I need to be locked away in a room for the next few months. And I have to kind of push through that, even though it is not my natural state. Yes. So it is kind of understanding that there are sometimes you have to do things that aren't in your comfort zone, and there's no shortcut. You have to go and do them, and you have to have the focus, understand that you can't just do the things you want to do all the time. So that I've learned a lot. And I've also learned a lot about, you know, how you work really in a team, when it's a team you've built and a team that you are part of, how actually that process is so different to in the corporate world, because now there's no time for vanity. There's no point of appraisals. The appraisals are, have we got users? Do people love what we're doing? Yeah. And therefore, working as a team is much more meaningful and real to me than it ever has been before.
And how have you learned how to bring people on? How have you learned how to build a team? Because I know certainly later on this year, I want to get more help in terms of the day-to-day elements of my business. And I think there are some parts that I've really hung on to for way too long. And it's like, no, it's time to let them go and get that support. How do you build a team from scratch? What are you looking for, or sort of, do you have any basic principles that you follow?
I don't know if your business will be the same, but I guess because it's early, it will be similar, which is fundamentally you have a mission about what you're here to do and what you're out to do. And if you are going to find people to join you on that mission, they've got to be people that believe it and that are prepared to roll their sleeves up and that aren't looking for the glory or the cash.
Yes.
If people are looking for the glory or the cash at an early stage startup, well, good luck to them, but they won't find a place it can handle, because we literally are totally mission driven to solve this problem for parents. And we need people who either feel the pain as a parent or who come to it thinking the challenge of solving this problem is so great that I want to be part of it. And therefore, it's very, very clear to us within less than a week if somebody can fulfill that mission and has the energy to deliver it, and actually the excitement, because it is about the journey, not the destination. It's the journey is what's addictive. The journey is what's amazing. Building something for your kind of following and answering this problem is what we're motivated to do. There isn't a case of, oh, next month we're an X bonus, or it's not that culture.
Yeah.
So you find very quickly if those people are right or not. And there's no test, unfortunately, better than being on the job.
Keep yourself open to ideas. The more you're able to then do with your business. So for me, taking a little bit of time out of a day to walk, because I really enjoy walking really helps me think. Walking and spending 45 minutes going for a walk instead of sitting at my computer hustling can actually do much more for me and my work long term than if I was sitting down cold emailing or doing something like that. Because I think you do sometimes need a bit of distance and you need time to reflect. And if you don't get that, often what you'll find is you're just chasing your tail and you're not opening yourself up to different kinds of opportunities, which all eventually do lead to money. I always find. So.
And you're not necessarily thinking in your most creative self. You become a bit, I know if I just keep putting in the hours, I just end up churning stuff out, and it's not coming from necessarily a tailored place or like the best place from me. Whereas if I have a bit of perspective and stand back on it a little bit, I can, by the time if I've been away, by the time I write the email, I can bash it out in 10 minutes because I know what I'm writing, rather than just going, oh, blimey, and it feeling really stuck.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's all about perspective. And I think taking little bits of time to do something else or to consciously give yourself thinking time as well. I find walking is really good for thinking time. And I also find as well when I consciously reflect on what I'm doing with my work. And I think sometimes it's sort of easy to just keep doing the jobs that you have to do, because there's a lot of jobs that always have to get done. But if you take a little bit of time and a bit of headspace to regularly almost do a checking in and a reflection about where you want things to be, where they are now, where you want things to be, what kind of clients do you want to have, how do you want to be spending your days, and all those actual conscious reflection bits as well. Sometimes that just requires time, and we can't necessarily do it really, really quickly on demand in that 10 minutes before that meeting or whatever. There needs to be headspace and time for those things to happen.